and welcome back to my channel. Unless you're new here, and then just welcome. My name is Rusty, and this is my channel where I talk about my favorite movies, mostly horror, and my favorite music, mostly metal. And yeah, tonight we are going to talk about, I believe it was Mr. Grande from Grande's Graveyard. He was doing a show, and they were making fun of, bad movies. And I said I liked it. I liked this movie. And he demanded an answer. How could I? So, yeah, here it is. I'm going to explain why this is an okay movie to me. And I, just watched all, anytime I do a movie, I watch it, the night before. So I just watched it again, and I still like it. And I will explain why. And that is Soul Survivors. This is the killer cut, where they put the blood and I think one nudity shot back in, or a couple of nudity shots and all of that. This is what you get when you try to make PG-13 horror. Let's just, get over that. So yes, this is Lone Survivor, killer cut. Now, Lone Survivor was released in 2001. It was directed and written by Stephen Carpenter, and it stars Melissa Sagemiller, Wes Bentley, Casey Affleck, and Eliza Dushku. Yes, it did. Yes, it does. It really does. So, this movie opens. Well, first of all, I love the soundtrack. I love the soundtrack to this movie. I mean, that's just like right up my skate punk alley, you know what I'm saying? So, I love the soundtrack to this movie. We are introduced to a girl named Kathy in a kind of Scream type scene where she is chased down by these two thugs in masks who kill her and bleed her into like a witchcraft looking bowl kind of thing. So, we are then introduced to the fact that we are in this, it was out of college. So then we are introduced to Cass. Cassie is targeted by the same bunch, This is after Sean. Casey Affleck plays a guy named Sean, who is the boyfriend of Cassie. We have Matt and Annabelle is Eliza Dushku. So they are going to deliver Cass to college for this semester, or this term, and, they go to an off-campus party. Cass is targeted by what I call in this movie the blood thugs. That's those two guys in the mask that are chasing people around. So she gets, kind of followed. I love that club scene, too. It's like an underground rave club because the regular college party is boring, so they go to this underground rage thing that takes place in a church. So it's like the atmosphere at first, kind of makes you think it's going to be sort of like demonic, supernatural type stuff, especially with the setting and everything. And it kind of would have been, but the movie itself was interrupted. And yeah, we'll get to that. So she's targeted by those thugs. Outside, Matt still kind of like tells Cassie they used to date, and he still kind of has a thing for her. Sean actually sees them give a goodbye kiss, which is what Matt had wanted. And he gets very upset. So they're all fighting and carrying on, and they decide to leave. And they're stalked by this car that has a black-haired girl with short hair. And those same two blood thugs follow them out, chasing them down the road, gets ahead of them, and makes her T-bone them at a curve, right? I think what they were going to try to do was going to try to stop her by pulling in front of her. Unfortunately for them, she wasn't able to stop. And that caused her to T-bone them. They both go down the cliff, and the movie continues. So we then find, Cassie is in the ER. We find out that Sean is dead. And that was really sad. It kind of makes you all sad. She's having a tough time dealing with this. There's a lot of drama in this movie. College age drama. So Sean dies, and we pick up 3 weeks later as she continues to try to start the next term, despite the fact that Sean has died. She had went to the funeral and everything. She keeps kind of being haunted by these visions of Sean, and Annabelle and Matt keep coming around to check on her, things like that. She ends up being chased several other times by the blood thugs. So it's like they're still after her. She does end up meeting that Wilson guy. He plays Jude. So she meets this priest, and he can tell that she feels bad and all, and they have a couple of interactions. Matt is also coming around. Cass blames herself, and Matt for having caused this wreck, even though that's not true. But the fact that everybody was mad, that Sean was upset, she's got a lot of guilt that she's trying to deal with about that. We still see the thug blugs. That's neat. The blood thugs are after her. And she of course still continues to see more and more visions of Sean. She goes and ends up talking to Jude, telling him the whole story, telling him how she feels that Sean is still around, that she can still feel his presence, things like that, which plays more into the supernatural aspect of this movie. She does end up accidentally, because of her situation, she ends up sleeping with Matt. This pisses Anna off, which I don't understand, because Annabelle is like a total slut in this movie. But she sleeps with Matt because she thought it was Sean. So, the vision of Sean made her think that's who she was going to bed with, when actually the same kind of thing happened in that movie Exploited, where he thought it was that Cam guy that he was sleeping with, and actually it was the roommate. So that was uncomfortable. So Anna's pissed now. She calls her mom, says that she's sick in the head, wants to come home. She ends up catching Anna and this girl that she had introduced her to, this Raven. Her name is Raven. And she ends up introducing to her. Well, she actually catches them making out in the library. And there's actually nudity in that scene, and Eliza and her were like really French kissing and stuff. And so, there's even nudity in that scene, like I said. Because this is the killer cut, so I guess they put a little bit back in there. They all get chased by the blood thugs again. Matt, of course, still doesn't believe her. Accuses her of maybe having PTSD. Okay. She, of course, doesn't think that she has PTSD, but it could be. So she ends up going and telling the cops about these thugs, but they all act strange as well, so she gets no joy from that. She goes back to the place that before the accident happened, Sean had said, that if you ever need me or miss me, you can come here to this place and this will be our place. It was like a little gazebo in the park. So she goes there and she actually sees him. And this time it's like not just fleeting visions or anything. He actually comes up and talks to her, takes her down down to the river, tells her that, she needs to run away with him right now. To the viewer, it seemed like he was asking her to to die, to come with him into death, into the afterlife. So she says she can't do that, though, so she ends up running back and ignores his warning when he says, if you don't come with me, you will die. You know, she ends up catching Matt talking with one of those thugs. She sees him from across the campus talking to one of those thugs. So now you're like, really, like, what's up with that? So she's confused. She ends up running back to the church again, wanting to talk to Jude, but she cannot find him. Then when she gets, so she goes to the priest, and she's like, tells him who she's looking for. And he informs her that priest, Jude, she couldn't have talked to him because he died back in 1981. So, what, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, he had died. So that kind of added to your what the fuck is going on. She goes to Jude. Okay, I've already done that. So when the priest tells her that, she freaks out and runs. The last time she had spoken to Jude, he had given her a St. Jude's necklace, the little pendant of St. Jude. The patron saint of lost souls, you know what I'm saying? So you really start to suspect, like, what's going on in this movie. And you start having suspicions that perhaps, just possibly, she isn't being haunted by the dead, but maybe she's haunting the living, or there's something else going on, and you really don't know what it is. You can have your various guesses. So she ends up going and telling Matt and Anna about seeing Sean and her suspicions about Matt talking to the blood thugs. She has this visions, and she goes to that club, and they're in a big fight. Cassie is chased by those thugs again. She ends up stabbing one in the pool with it's like a flash from Michael Myers and Halloween Kills, where he kills the person with the light tube, So she ends up killing him with one of them, and there you get some blood that had obviously been cut out for the PG-13. So you do get a little blood and stuff in this movie that wasn't there for the theatrical. God, the theatrical would have sucked. I'm just going to be honest with you. Because this, as it is only a calm, mediocre movie. The theatrical version had to really suck without what little nudity and blood that there is in. But this, the killer cut, does make it acceptable to me. There's enough of it. So she ends up, Matt takes her back to the party house to get Anna before they take her home. The thugs get after her again. She finds Anna and Raven in the bathroom doing the nasty again. So I don't know what's up with them two. And that Raven person tells her, that she doesn't belong here and she needs to go with Sean before it's too late. So that's where I really was like, okay. All right. Okay. I'm having a suspicion now. I'm having a suspicion that she is either dead or dying. And, and that's where my suspicion started going at this point, was when Raven said that. So she ends up fighting with Matt again in the car. She knocks him out. She takes off. She finds a bunch of cops at the campus, and Anna is all like cut up and stuff at that park where Sean was. And the cops, are standing around her, and Anna like sits up and says it was her that attacked her. And the cops start walking towards her, and she ends up running out into the road where she gets hit by an automobile. So once again, you have a flashback, but at the same time, it's current in that she is once again taken to the ER and is being taken to the operating room, where this car has just knocked the fuck out of her. And that is when people start appearing to her. She sees Sean over there crying with his parents and hers. She sees the doctors, and even Jude, like, pops up for a little ghostly visit. And we're back, like I said, in the ER doing that. And then that's when Sean actually comes up to her again and starts talking to her and telling her it'll be all right. And all of the memories start coming back. And that's where we see the truth of all of this. And that was that when she was T-boned, when they were T-boned, or when they T-boned the thugs. Now, the thugs and all were real, but when they T-boned them, it wasn't Sean who died. It was everybody else except for Sean and her. So Anna was actually killed in that wreck. The two thugs were killed in that wreck. Like I said, Anna and Matt were killed in that wreck. Only Cass and Sean, and Cass was only barely alive. She was in limbo between life and death on the operating table, and this whole movie, from the wreck to this scene, was a coma dream, was a coma premonition, delusion, whatever it was. She was fighting for her life. And they even show her, like, look over, and she sees that Raven girl dead on a slab. Well, she was dying on a slab. And, yeah, so that's when you find, now, she does choose life, rather than staying in this dead zone with Matt and Anna. And that's this whole movie. You see, they've been trying to get her to stay with them and forget Sean. But actually, they were all dead trying to get her to stay. The only person that told her to get away was Raven, actually. So, yeah, this whole movie after the wreck was a fever dream up until she comes to in the hospital. So she comes to, she chooses life. She chooses to stay with Sean. They wheel her into her room where she has a nice, really good last of the movie jump scare nightmare. And then she wakes up to be discharged, only to find that St. Jude necklace that Jude had given her around her neck still. So, a little weird, So, yeah, I thought that was neat, because pretty much 60% of the movie, I really didn't, I kind of knew something was up halfway through the movie, but I didn't really know where my direction was going until 60% of the movie was gone. And that was the scene where Raven and Anna were in the bathroom, and Anna told her that she needed to leave. She needed to go with Sean, which, if you kept thinking the way you had been thinking, it was her once more being told to top herself and go be with Sean in the afterlife, when actually they were the ghosts. They were the ones trying to keep her and bring her into the dead zone with them. So, yeah, the movie ends. That was it. So, now to answer his question. I never said this was a masterpiece. I never said it was a horror masterpiece. It was one of those flubs that was done because these stupid people want to get 12-year-olds into a theater to watch horror movies. And they're making PG-13 horror, which I can't stand. I mean, I guess there's certain genres where where PG-13 can work out all right. I do love a couple. One of my favorite movies is The Covenant, and it's PG-13. And it's got male and female nudity in it, and it's a good movie. And so, on occasion, a PG-13 movie can be all right, but not usually. So, first of all, I am very good about limiting my expectations. It's PG-13. I love the cast, and I didn't really expect that much, and the killer cut is actually okay to me. I can't imagine seeing the theatrical cut. That would have been boring as fuck. But, and somebody thinks this is too. So, everybody is different. We all know that. Everybody's collection is different. We all have a lot of the same things, and then we all have a lot of different things. So, everybody has different sensibilities, and the things that are going to strike you. I've heard people tell me they liked a movie, and I asked them what did they like about it, and they were like, I actually just liked watching Anna Kendrick. And I'm like, but you didn't really care for the story? And I was like, the story's all right. I just have a good time sitting and watching her. So, people like movies for a lot of various reasons. And they dislike movie for a lot of various reasons. Sometimes, for instance, earlier tonight, before I filmed these videos, I was sitting here, I was bored. I didn't really know what to watch, what to do. And all of a sudden, it just came on to me as I was looking around. I said, you know what? I'm in a chick flick mood. I don't know why. But I just want to, let me look. So I went looking through my collection, and I'm like, wow, that right there. That is the chickiest flick I've got in my collection. And I'm like, well, do you really want to watch Pretty Woman? And I'm like, sure, why not? So I got out Pretty Woman, and I watched fucking Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman. The chickiest, flickiest movie that you can find. 2010 A Space Odyssey, the year we make contact, that's not real either. So, but it is a nice fantasy. It's fake as fuck, but it's a nice fantasy. So, yeah, I was just in the mood for a chick flick, and I went and found the chicky flickiest one I had. You know what I mean? So, there are times, what I'm getting to is that there are times when I don't feel like anything heavy. I want to watch a thriller. I want to watch a horror movie. But I really don't feel like, I just want a quiet, subdued little horror movie that I get entertainment of watching. And I do with this. Like I said, I love the soundtrack. I love just looking at the cast. I love seeing Wes Bentley. I love seeing Casey Affleck when he was just like a baby. And I'm a big fan of Eliza Dushku because I am a super Buffy fanboy. And so, I've got a lot of her movies. I've got her with, I really like her in the one with Robert De Niro called Noble Son. That's a really good movie. I, of course, adore Wrong Turn. And I even like her other one, and there's another one. I've got several. Open Graves is another one he mentioned. I like that too. I can have fun just sitting back. I love the atmosphere and I love the cast. So I enjoy just sitting and watching them, listening to the music. It's not too heavy. It's not ultra violent. It's not ultra bloody. It's not, it's just, and I don't have to have teenage boobs in my face every 5 minutes. Of course, I don't get to see any Casey Affleck's butt neither, but you get my point. Sometimes I'm just in the mood for a more subdued, quiet, not as radical horror movie. I don't feel like putting on Friday the 13th Part 2, or I don't feel like watching Halloween Kills, or I don't feel like watching Saw 3 or something like that. I just want something calm and quiet, and in times like that, I like to throw on little supernatural thrillers, like Spielberg's Super 8. I like watching Super 8 when I'm in that that mood, and this is an alright movie. I give it like a 6.5 out of 10. I like looking at the people. I like the story. Do I wish that they had turned this into a really good bloodfest because all of the ingredients were there? Yes. Do I wish that they had done more with the cast and the writing? Yes, but at the same time, it was made for a PG-13 audience, and they just weren't going to go in that places, So, do I like Soul Survivor? Yeah, I like to throw it and films like it on when I am in the mood for not a lot of noise, not a lot of shit, I don't want to be jump scared every 5 minutes. It's a nice little supernatural ghost story that has a really good flip twist to it. You think she's being haunted. I mean, you think, that Sean is haunting her, his ghost, and then you find out that she's the one that's actually still alive and everyone else around her is dead. So it's a cool little movie that you can just sit back and enjoy. And that is why I like Soul Survivors. It fits into that little stack that I can go to when I'm in that mood. And we're all like that. And you know how much I hate critics. And you know how much I hate analyzing a movie to death. As long as it is not awfully horrible, like that Hell's Bells shit that I watched the other day. Whew. Jesus. That was one of the first times, I can count the number of times I've given a movie a 1 out of 10 on my fingers and toes and not have to repeat. That Hell's Bells movie got a 1 out of 10. That was one of the horriblest things I've ever seen in my life. Jesus, that movie was terrible. So this is just a nice, mediocre, quiet little movie to me. And there's your answer. I like looking at Casey Affleck and Ben Wesley. Is that his name? Ben Weston. I like looking at that, and I just like seeing and hearing Eliza Dushku. I like the cast. I like the music. It's calm. It's a cool story. It's missing a lot, but then it's PG-13. What the fuck do you expect? They did manage to put some good stuff back in it. But yeah, it's just okay. I never said that it was Friday the 13th Part 2. But I like it. And I will always like it. Just like I love My Soul to Take. I just like a lot of movies. You people don't. And it's alright. So I will see you in the next thing I do. Always remember and never forget. You are a very, very special person. No matter what anyone tries to tell you. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.